with such a date. And coming from the little chapel of St. Joseph here in the Archbishop's residence in Cebu, we would like to greet you all. Congratulations for this first international conference of the Handmaids of the Lord. And certainly we know that despite COVID, we are not paralyzed. Many wonderful things are happening, one of which is how you bond together and reflect on the wonders of God's love, reflecting on the theme, wonders and praises, which is anchored, of course, on the CFC theme, strive and holiness, put on love. So as I congratulate the participants of the first online international conference of the Couples for Christ Handmaids of the Lord, I must admit I feel privileged to be able to celebrate this Mass with you, so that we may appreciate the invitation and the challenge of this wonderful feast. Allow me to invite you to take a quick look, some kind of a journey on these past weeks, because as I often say, the season of Easter, the mystery of the Lord's resurrection, starts on the Feast of the Resurrection and then continues for several weeks until today, in fact, until next week. It's such a wonderful mystery. Christmas is relatively shorter. The reason is we understand better. We have an experience of a child that's born and how it grows. But we don't have an experience of a person risen from the dead and lived with us temporarily and then left his friends, which is, of course, the mystery of the Lord's resurrection. And so allow me to invite you to journey very briefly on this journey of Easter. April 4, first Sunday of Easter, we were presented with the story of the resurrection. The Lord risen from the dead, and the women who went to the tomb did not find the body. They encountered one whom they thought was a gardener, only to realize he was the Lord. But then one important message was they were told to go back to Galilee, because there the Lord will meet them. An important lesson for all of us is, why go back to Galilee? The reason is, Galilee is where they first encountered the Lord. They were fishermen. And in that first encounter, they would recall how excited they were, how they were challenged, how they were inspired. To me, the lesson for all of us is, when we were told to go back to Galilee, is to go back to that experience where we had what the church is, the fascination with the Lord. Sometime in the past where we know we met Him and that inspired us, to follow Him. Go back to Galilee. The second Sunday was, as we recall, Divine Mercy Sunday. After a week, they were gathered, they were afraid. Thomas said he does not believe the Lord is risen. And the Lord appeared. And then, instead of getting mad at them because they left Him during the crucifixion, instead of blaming them, the Lord simply said, "Peace be with you." And He told Thomas to touch his side. Divine Mercy Sunday, because if we just reflect, like the apostles, in many ways, we abandoned the Lord. No one could say that we haven't abandoned him one time or the other. But then the mercy of God is overflowing. Divine Mercy Sunday. The third Sunday, as we recall, was April 18. The two disciples going to Emmaus. And they were exchanging stories, downtrodden, downhearted, because they thought the person who would have been the Redeemer was crucified. Only to realize there was this person who joined them in the conversation, and at the end, joined them for dinner. And then Jesus kind of remonstrated them for not understanding the Bible, who predicted that the Redeemer would suffer and die and will rise again. Then their eyes were opened. Beautiful story. And then the fourth Sunday, as you would recall, is Good Shepherd Sunday. The Lord presented himself as the Good Shepherd. Not like the other shepherds who were only hirelings, who would run away when there is danger. The Good Shepherd, in fact, was willing to die for the sheep. In fact, Jesus, as the Good Shepherd, died for us. Can there be any other shepherd better than he? He knows the sheep, and we should know him. He brings us to green pastures. What a very reassuring reminder. No one can be better than this Good Shepherd. And then, followed by another beautiful gospel, sixth Sunday, I am the vine, you are the branches. It is telling us that He is the main vine, and if we want to have life, we should always be joined with Him, like branches always attached to the vine. Because detached from Him, cut off from Him, we can do nothing. In fact, we will die. We have no life. We have no fruitfulness. Such a beautiful reminder. And then, last Sunday, the command of the Lord, love one another as I have loved you. He has loved us. He has proven this love. Now He commands us to love one another. And then today, this eve, this vigil of the Ascension, the Lord is telling the apostles, go and preach the good news to all nations. It is like saying, after having been presented the reality of this God-made man who suffered and died and rose again, this feast is a reminder. If after the resurrection, He showed Himself to them time and again, with this feast, He is ascending to the Father. He is going to the Father. He will sit at the right hand of the Father. It is simply saying, from this time on, we would no longer see the bodily presence of Jesus. But then, He gave us the command, go and proclaim the good news. It is a wonderful way of saying, I have fulfilled the Father's will. I have proclaimed the good news. But until I return, I no longer call you servants but friends, because you will continue my work. People will no longer hear the human voice of Jesus. It is our voice that they will hear. It is our hands that would feed the hungry. It is our hands that will give thirst or drink to the thirsty. It is our bodily presence, our feet that have to walk to visit the sick and the prison. I no longer call you servants but friends, because the Lord shared with us this beautiful mission. My dear handmaids of the Lord, your theme is wonders and praises. Because we have experienced the love of the Lord, our invitation is to proclaim to people all over the world the wonders of God's love, and to give praises to the Lord that they may join us in praising God. That we may be able to truly live out to this challenge, it's good to remember a very timely reminder from the church. Today's world listens more to witnesses than to teachers. And if they listen to teachers, it is because they are witnesses in the first place. It simply underlines the strength of witnessing, of a life that is message in itself, of a life that's holy. Useless would be our talking if behind our back people would say, I could not hear what you are talking because of the loudness of what you're doing. God forbid, no, if what we're doing is contrary to what we're talking. That's why the message of the Holy Father, Gaudete et Exultate, published the other year, rejoice and be glad, which is a reminder of the basic theme of Couples for Christ, who said, strive on holiness, put on love. It is a reminder that we are all called to be holy. We are all called to be people who project love. I often repeat a saying from Leon Bloy, quoted by the Holy Father. When we think of the many who are saints, he said, the only ultimate disaster is not to become a saint. Useless would be our undertakings if we do not become saints. And therefore, this is holiness, that we desire to be truly Christians, to be holy, to be loving persons, because this is the way to become saints. And then, when we are able to integrate that, then we know that all that we say and do would be indeed proclaiming wonders and praises, the wonders of God's love, and praises to God for having loved us. I know and we know that many of us are inspired when we hear of, even as the Pope says, not necessarily great things, others are called to do great things, but even simple things. The way we speak, the way we avoid chismes, as the Pope would say, the way we promote friendship and love, the way we do some simple sacrifices that others may live better lives. I'm touched when I recall one, I would say, sissy handmaid. On her way to the funeral of her sister and husband who died and left the children with no parents, she decided, I'm not going home, I'm staying here to care for the children. I mention it because it is a true story. Years later, she reflected, I could not understand. All the children were able to go to school, and now they are in their own ways professionals. And her work is like, she works in a massage clinic, She served all the members of the family. Wonders and praises. I often remember a lavandera in our seminary because many times I met the daughters, 4 daughters. 2 are teachers and professional, and she only washes clothes. Wonders and praises of God's love. I was privileged to go home after 1.5 years the other week because a friend went to Iloilo. They own a construction firm. So I took a ride in their little airplane. My point is, I met my auntie, 95 years old. For her, her life is helping in the house chores and prayer. When I ordained my nephew, she said, if only the parish priest were alive, I could tell him, you see, Monsignor, you asked me to pray for more vocation. Here's again another apo of mine who is a priest. Prayers, works of love, works of mercy. I know of many. And so today I'm very happy when I think of you, because bonding together with fellow handmaids of the Lord, with couples for Christ, I know that there is strength and inspiration in this common effort, in this synodality, in journeying together, in praying together, in working out together, feeding the hungry, teaching catechism, reaching out to people in the distant barangays. Many works that would make in daily church alive. Here in Cebu, we often say, even with pandemic, ampo, amping, ambit. We share our love. We share our resources. We share whatever we have. I do believe, deep in my heart, that with God's grace, we will survive. With God's grace, we will revive. And with God's grace, we will thrive after COVID. As the Pope says, if we discover that sympathy, love, care in our hearts, then we know this is the love of the Lord that will make us see through this pandemic. I'd like to end with a word from the Holy Father, because I know this is the spirit of the handmaids of the Lord. This is a spirit of sharing and giving and reaching out in love. The Pope says, and I quote, "Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruit. The sun does not shine on itself. Flowers do not spread their fragrance for themselves. Living for others is the rule of nature. We are all born to help each other. No matter how difficult it is, life is good when you are happy, but much better when others are happy because of you. May we make this world a better, happier place because we share." Once more to all of you, congratulations. God bless.